Hey, what is up, guys? Chase Oliver 68 here. Like I said in the wrestling and MMA video, this is going to be the NFL draft and NBA video. With me is my co-host, Alan Sturk. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, dude. Just enjoying football, basketball. Well, football is no longer in session, but I'm hoping for enjoying the college spring games, watching these second teamers try to play football. It's pretty enjoyable to the most part. But in and other news, let's get started. Speaking of college footballers, most of them actually made it to the NFL. The NFL draft happened. A lot of really, really good talents. In this draft. Not the strongest draft in the world. It wasn't really one of the best drafts. But, there was a lot of interesting talents in this draft. And, Alan, what were your thoughts on the NFL draft? You were there live. You were featured on the NFL Network. What are your thoughts about this NFL draft? Like, what did you think about it?
The odd thing was that, for the first like 6 or 7 picks, there was no skill players or really even offensive players drafted. It was a lot of, obviously the offensive line was the first 2 picks, but it was very defensive oriented draft, which is pretty awesome, man. I'm more of a defensive guy myself. I'm not sure. Are you more of a defensive guy?
Yeah, I like defense more. I just feel like in the NFL draft, like when you go to the first round, like I understand that the later teams, because like this is how I think it. Okay, if you're a team in the top 10, obviously you suck because you don't have a quarterback or a wide receiver or a running back, so you'd be able to be drafting those positions. But if you're a team like saying like the 20s or onwards, it's pretty much like okay, your team was good, but you're just like missing one piece to your defense or to your offense that you just need to add. Like for example, like the Falcons or the 49ers, like they didn't win a Super Bowl. There must be missing some piece or they didn't get something they needed in free agency. So they're just going to draft it there. Like to me, like for the top 10 picks, I don't like when you go out and say, oh, I'm going to spend it on the defensive tackle because defensive tackle is just such a hard position to really draft so early. I would wait for a defensive tackle, even for a defensive back or a defensive end.
Well, it's just this year the positioning,
Yeah.
in terms of skill players, I think for running back, no running back got picked to the second round, and the quarterback position, I don't think there's been a worse crop in quite some time.
This is as bad as the Brady Quinn class. That was a pretty bad class. The Brady Quinn, Jamarcus Russell class. So, this quarterback class really, to be honest, was very, very bad. It's really hard to grade this quarterback class because it's like you have to compare these guys to like Russell Wilson, RG3, Andrew Luck, and projects like Ryan Tannehill and Brandon Weeden. It's like so hard to grade, these quarterbacks. Like either this quarterback class will be better than the before RG3 and Andrew Luck class with the Cam Newtons, the Jake Lockers, the Blaine Gabberts, and the Christian Ponders, or it will be worse than that. So it will be interesting to see where this quarterback class goes.
Yeah, I think it'll mostly be on Gino and EJ Manuel of where this class truly goes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the Bills were thinking there. I think personally trading down, I don't know if it was a good move. I think they could have benefited from getting a guy like Tavon Austin, but Buffalo, I guess they want to start rebuilding now. They want to start a movement. They don't want to use Tavares. They don't want to use Kevin Cobb. So I don't know. Do you believe in EJ Manuel?
I like EJ Manuel. I like what he did at Florida State. He's one of the winningest Florida State quarterbacks. He does have some inaccuracy issues, but I feel like what they did in the second and third rounds was just actually really good for them. Getting Kiko Alonso fills a need for you in middle linebacker, and then you get Robert Woods, who can eventually break out to be a number one receiver in the NFL. The only reason why Robert Woods wasn't really graded as high as a lot of receivers in the draft is because if you look at his teammate Marquise Lee, who's like the best prospect since Randy Moss, it's really hard to compare Robert Woods, who probably is just like I don't know, like a receiver that's really solid in the NFL, like a good possession receiver, compared to a guy that's going to be the next Randy Moss and Marquise Lee. So Robert Woods, and like in all honesty, like I love that pick. I was like, wow, they got like probably the best number one, number two future receiver for them. And really, to be honest, and they picked up that speedster from Texas who can run like a 340, almost broke Chris Johnson's combine record. I mean, they did a really good job picking up receivers that will help out EJ Manuel a lot in this draft. So I really felt like what they did in the second and third rounds kind of made up for picking up EJ Manuel. I just thought that Ryan Nassib, being that Doug Marrone coached Ryan Nassib in college, I thought he was going to be the guy that was going to go to Buffalo. And also being from near the area in Syracuse, I thought that that would also be another pitch. He's already in New York, might as well keep him here. Make him go to school and stuff. But EJ Manuel, he is solid. I think it'll take a couple years before we actually get to see this kid's true potential. But I think I honestly think Geno will have a easier transition once the Jets get wide receivers around him. I think he'll have a better time than EJ Manuel in the near future.
I just think what's crazy is that Ryan Nassib, he was being predicted to be the first quarterback off the board. So and he fell pretty extreme. Like even Mike Lehman went over him. So and Ryan, he pretty much ended up on the Giants, and I don't see him lasting there for more than 3 or 4 years. If he impresses, play a trade or something.
If he's on the Giants, it's like once Eli Manning leaves, because Eli Manning is going to be coming up on a contract year pretty soon. And it's all going to be based on production for Eli Manning here on out. And because with the quarterbacks now getting paid how much they are being paid, Aaron Rodgers signing the richest deal in like NFL history, Tony Romo getting that huge extension. You got to guess Matt Ryan may be getting an extension like that pretty soon. You got Joe Flacco getting that extension. The Giants are thinking here, we pay Eli more, and Eli has more right. I'm not saying he should deserve more money than Aaron Rodgers, but Eli does have a right to say, hey, pay me more than Aaron Rodgers because I have 2 rings, Rodgers has 1 ring, 2 rings greater than 1, and Eli does say that argument, and it proves good. I mean, how many quarterbacks in the NFL today have 2 rings besides Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady? And this, especially starting caliber quarterbacks. I mean, in all honesty, Eli Manning has the right to demand more money. I mean, it's not like his production has gone downhill. It's not like Big Ben, whose production has kind of has been stagnant. He has gone up in his productions, turning the ball less over. So they may be thinking like with Ryan Nassib, drafting him in the 4th round is a good move for them because he's a guy that reminds me a lot of Eli Manning in the pocket. He's a guy that throws sort of like Eli Manning, and plus the hometown type of feel. I feel that they went with Ryan Nassib because you can't keep like a Hakeem Nicks and a Victor Cruz and a bunch of other wide receivers like a Ruben Randall have we barely seen from, and a David Wilson with Eli Manning taking up all that cap because Eli Manning could be the highest paid quarterback of all time once his contract's up because he could very well demand that even though he's going to be entering like in his mid-30s.
He's 32 right now. He turns 33 next January. Yeah. So I still think he has it. If he keeps it up, he still has at least another good 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
He keeps pace with with what he's doing.
Well, hell, his brother Peyton's playing, and he's like almost 40, and Tom Brady's going to be hitting the 4 O's by the time New England's done with him. So he could probably play for another 6-7 years, if anything.
Yeah, it's all on. Obviously, it's all on Eli's arm, but not all on. But protection's huge, man. That's why Brady's been so durable, and I think the Giants' whole line's always been solid, but I don't know. To me, sometimes Eli, he's a little hesitant sometimes. Like, he's not the most physically imposing guy. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
I think for all quarterbacks, it comes down to the offensive line in terms of durability. Unless, of course, you're reckless with the, you scramble. But I think Eli's career will dictate on the offensive line. They'll play a huge role.
Yeah, I just feel that Nassib was a solid pick. The one pick that I like out of all the quarterbacks was like Chip Kelly choosing Matt Barkley. Chip Kelly's going to obviously run like a West Coast style offense here in the NFL. I don't think he's going to run the gimmick that he ran at Oregon. He's going to run a lot of no huddle though. A lot of the stuff that you see in the Patriots playbook, people, just know Chip Kelly helped Bill Belichick with that. So for a lot of people that are doubting Chip Kelly's skills as an NFL head coach, Bill Belichick said this. Bill Belichick said he's a genius on the football field. No one's smarter than him. I can't believe that this guy has not been a head coach sooner. I wish I could grab him as an assistant now, just so that way I can master the no-huddle offense. So really, to be honest here, Chip Kelly, he's going to be entering in with a lot of bad pieces left over by Andy Reid. Deshaun Jackson, to me, is not really a reliable number 1 wide receiver. I like Jason Avant. I think that he's going to do well in Philadelphia with a Matt Barkley or maybe a Dennis Dixon throwing to him. But really, to be honest here, I feel like LaShawn McCoy is going to be the biggest benefit with Chip Kelly coming. So really, to be honest here, I don't think a lot of us should knock Chip Kelly just yet. I think we have to give him at least 2 to 3 years to see how he does in the NFL. I feel a lot of people just look at year one success. Like, not everyone can be like a Jim Hardball and play quarterback in the NFL and have that type of knowledge and then do well with the struggling Stanford program and recruit one of the greatest quarterback prospects of all time in Andrew Luck. I mean, that's a rarity. Sometimes that happens. So not all rookie coaches are going to come in like Jim Harbaugh. They got to give it time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all about patience, with these rookies, just in general. It doesn't matter what position it is. I just think with a rookie, man, you give them usually 3 years before you want to make a true judgment on whether you want to cut, release them, or try and find trade bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like some rookies, poor Blaine Gabbert, like Blaine Gabbert, yes, he's not really that great of a leader or a quarterback. But, maybe he can turn it around this year. But then again, his number one target's too busy drinking to 2.7 blood alcohol rating. So who know? I want to know, what does Justin Blackman do? Did he just go into the bar and say, like, give me all the Patron, tequila, fucking give me that Bacardi Gold right there, give me that rum right there. I'm going to drink all that, and he just drinks all that. Like, how in the blue hell do you get a 2.7? You must be so intoxicated.
And he came on, I think, the last month of last year.
Yeah, no.
Really well, I thought.
Yeah, he played really well. He helped my fantasy team out. I remember that. I was just like, it was a 20-man league. I needed help, and I saw Justin Blackman on the waivers, and I'm like, silly people, give me Justin Blackman. But a lot of these rookies, there's a lot of them. The two rookies that I feel that were steals for this team. Green Bay Packers getting the two best running backs in this draft, and Jonathan Franklin and Eddie Lacy. Now Green Bay, with the running game that they never had, they do have it. They drafted two really solid guard tackle combo guys. One of them can play left guard and left tackle, and the other one can play right guard and right tackle. So really, they got two solid guys in the draft. Green Bay, to me, really played well in the draft game. I also felt later in the draft, at least, not beginning early on, that the Jets with Geno Smith and getting Chris Ivory out of the mix, I thought they did good. The Saints on the second day did a solid job, getting Teron Armstead in there. Falcons got a sleeper cornerback from a small school. Small school cornerbacks are the best type of cornerbacks, I always say, because you never know how these kids play. And a lot of great receivers come from small schools. Like, they don't come from those big schools. Big school receivers have too much of big egos. That's why I'm kind of happy that a lot of the big school receivers were kind of like really mellow this year. Like, Robert Woods is a really nice guy. Nothing cocky about him. And Marquise Lee is very respectable as well. So I don't know. This draft class, I feel like it's not going to be as deep as next year's. Oh, next year's is going to be just like too much craziness. But if there's one thing you learn from this NFL draft, and you're a college student, don't go back to college. Just enter the draft. See Matt Barkley for an example, because you could be a first-round talent, but then you can end up going downhill fast. But Alan, who were some of the winners for you? Because I think the Packers and the Vikings were like really, really big winners for me. I feel like they were the biggest winners of this draft.
Yeah, you want to go through that? Then I'll talk about the live experience.
Yeah.
So I think the winners of. I really want to give it to Minnesota, but I just thought, giving up all those picks for Cornelius Patterson was a little extreme. But I thought they had a very productive first round, getting True Floyd and Xavier Jones.
Xavier Rhodes.
Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah.
Xavier Rhodes. You know what's going to be crazy with Minnesota? If Chris Cook could stay healthy, I think that's going to be the tallest cornerback duo.
Yeah.
Rhodes tall and physical, and if Cook could stay healthy, he's also tall and physical.
And then they also got Harrison Smith from last year. That baller safety that they got, that ball hawk. Like, they got that guy last year, and he's pretty tall too. I mean, they're going to have a really strong and physical secondary.
I think Minnesota is going to be in the group with like Tampa Bay, Carolina, St. Louis as those fringe playoff teams. Like, you get 7 to 10 wins. I think with Minnesota, similar to Tampa Bay, is they improved the secondary and they proved they're all around team, but it's going to come down to the quarterback.
Well, speaking of Tampa Bay, real quick before we go back to winners, what did you think about that drafting Mike Glennon, who's pretty much Josh Freeman but white?
Well, Josh Freeman, I think it's his contract year, and he's either going to have to step up or they're just going to let him go. I think that's a pretty big statement. I know some people are downplaying it, but to me, I think the Bucks are making it clear that they're kind of fed up with Freeman's inconsistent play.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying, but everyone's like, no, Josh Freeman's gonna stay. He's gonna sign like a 40, like they said that like someone told me that it was ridiculous. Like he's gonna sign a 30 million contract, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
if he plays well,
I'm like 30 mil. No, to me though, like 30 million, like Josh Freeman, even if he takes the Bucks to the playoffs, you guarantee Josh Freeman's gonna be like, give me 80 fucking million. That's what he's gonna say. One thing I was disappointed in is that the Bears didn't draft a quarterback because now they're going to have to be stuck with Jay Cutler, and Jay Cutler's in contract year, and that means Jay Cutler's going to be asking for way too much money. So
I'm looking at Freeman's stats right now, and other than 2010, his numbers have been below average or
yeah,
barely average. Last year, his rating was just an 81, and he threw 17 picks.
yeah.
And 2011 was an abomination. 2009 was his rookie year. Only 2010 he really showed that he could be a top tier quarterback.
Yeah, see, the thing is though, because like it doesn't even matter what tier you are. Just nowadays, it's just like, oh, I gotta ask for this money because I can, because I'm a quarterback, and everyone's like, oh, we're scrambling for quarterbacks. I really think that Mike Glennon being drafted in this situation was kind of just like, why don't you just wait till next year when the quarterback draft is really, really rich with all this oozing talent that's going to be like just amazing. Like this next year's quarterback draft is just as good as the Luck and RG3 draft, except there's like actually 5 quarterbacks that are capable of starting on NFL teams on this. Like not just like 2 or 3 that are going to take. I think like a lot of those guys are going to be good next year. But yeah, that's the thing. Mike Glennon, that was interesting. So who?
I think Tampa Bay really liked him.
Huh?
I think Tampa Bay just really saw something in him to take him.
Yeah, they just saw Josh Freeman but white. That's all he is. That's basically his game. He's Josh Freeman, white, inconsistent. He throws a huge arm. He's a North Carolina State quarterback. That's what they're known for. But even then, it's just like I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the pick. I understand why they did it. It makes sense because you want to push Josh Freeman, but at the same time, it's like really Mike Glennon. I don't know. Not a fan of that pick.
Other teams, I kind of like what Detroit did, getting Ansana with the first pick. I know they had needs. I know they have a pretty bad old line, and they could have used a left tackle. But I really think Ansana, he's going to be like a Pro Bowler within 2 or 3 years. He just looks like an absolute freak, and you put him with Suggs.
Oh yeah, no. Ezekiel, he's a huge Bama. Like, but the only thing that he needs to work on is get real glasses because he was wearing 3D glasses. So he needs to work on that. But other than that, he's gonna be he's like the Jason Pierre-Paul type of player. Like nowadays, ever since like everyone's seen JPP, everyone's looking for that athlete. So it's just like, in all honesty, I would say, yeah, they're looking for an athlete. Get it, Ezekiel Ansah. It's fine pick by me. It's better than the Dolphins trading up to get Dion fucking Jordan.
Yeah. So you want me to go through the live experience draft?
Yeah, sure. What was the live experience like?
I think people are gonna be listening and say, how can I go next year? But so basically, how you get in there for free is you gotta wait the night before on this line. I get there around 7:00, and you get to talk to other football fans. That's probably the best thing with experience because you get to talk with so many different fans. Like I think literally there was every jersey being represented. I even saw a Maurice Jones jersey. I even saw a Brown shirt that says, "Yeah, I'm a Browns fan. Let's get drunk." Which was pretty fun. But
yes.
yeah, the guy, just about every person is there. So I waited 2 hours, got a place, and met Roger Goodell for 30 seconds. That was pretty interesting. Just said hello to him. I don't know. I don't really hate Goodell. I'm pretty indifferent on him.
I feel like a lot of people give Goodell a lot of shit, but if anything, like, yeah, Goodell is not the best commissioner. But when I compare other commissioners around the league, I think, like just around sports in general, I think he's better than fucking David Stern. David Stern's terrible. I think he's hurt the sport of basketball so much in the NBA. Like the new CBA rules and stuff. Like at least Goodell, some of the stuff he's done, yes, it's questionable. Like, why would you do these? Why would you do that? That's why I'm so thankful David Stern's finally done after this year. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to find out who the new commissioner is going to be. But Goodell, I don't think he's like the worst commissioner in sports, but he's pretty bad when it comes down to like the rules that he makes.
You know, just look at the big picture. NFL didn't have a lockout. NBA missed about what 6 to 8 weeks of basketball.
Yeah, dude. That was That was terrible. I was just like, I need my basketball. I'm missing it, and that was just terrible to me.
Just pretty ridiculous. But yeah, man, for a little bit. So you get the bracelet, and basically you get them for free. And they don't, just the bracelet. You can get there as early as you want, and you can get good seats. I got there around 2 hours before the draft. I got there around 6, and we sat in the mid-level section. Didn't sit in the upper deck. We sat in the middle-level section. And the only section was only for like 200 people. It's crazy. I'm shocked we got that good seats, and it kind of felt like a movie theater atmosphere. And just walking it, you feel the environment. It was really cool. And the funniest thing, though, well, two funny things. One, a group of 40 Dolphin fans traveled. What's that? I asked one of the guys, did you guys want to travel from Miami? He said, no, some of them came from Philly, Boston, but 40 Dolphin fans were together.
Dude, Dolphin fans are crazy, dude. Because when I was a little kid, there was this like sports bar called Chewy's, and they would only play Dolphin games there, and there would be like 30 Dolphin fans at that sports bar. And I'm like, why does everyone like the Dolphins so much?
Yeah, jeez. I think Ricky Williams is a big thing back in the day. Also, they had Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, but yeah, that's a little odd. But another funny thing is there are a lot of JETS sucks chants, and a lot of Tom Brady, chants, whatever, cursing at him. But the funniest thing, some guy was running around throwing butt fumble shirts around, and I just missed catching one. So,
butt fumble shirts.
I had it in my hand and just could have wore with pride. But
I would have wore that all day. I would have that would have been my only wardrobe, just butt fumble shirt every single day of my life. I wouldn't care. People go like, do you change that shirt? I'm like, no. Do you understand what this means? It's the greatest thing that has ever happened in the NFL, the butt fumble. That is the funniest thing ever in the NFL. Like, the fucking dude runs into his center's ass and fumbles. Like, who does that on Thanksgiving?
Like, he was literally just trying to slide down, make a safe play, gain a yard or two, and he just slides into the guy's ass and fumbles, and it goes for a touchdown.
Exactly. That's the best part of the play. That's what makes it one of the best. If there's ever like the funniest plays of all time, butt fumble has to be ranked number one. No questions asked. That's one of the funniest plays ever. It's one of the funniest plays ever, just because he hits the guy's ass and fumbles it.
And my neighbor, he told me, like, because I don't know if you noticed, the next possession, they fumbled the kickoff and the Bears scored a touchdown. My neighbor tells me the next morning that he wrote a letter to, like, I don't know, the Jets, like, offices telling him to fire Rex. He has no balls, fire the whole organization. He was just screaming on top of his lungs to me. I was like, it's a good thing I'm a Falcons fan, I guess. But,
yeah, very good thing, because you don't have to deal with butt fumble.
Yeah, so as trades were starting early, and that was the crazy thing. Like, when that Dolphin Raiders trade went down, a lot of people were reacting, And I said with a few Dolphin fans, but the big four that were on the other side. But just when that trade happened, when they said, "Oh, great, Dolphins on the clock with the third pick," everyone was just like, "Oh my god!" And people were slapping things, and Dolphins fans were excited. But when they took Deion Jordan over Lane Johnson, half of them left the building already. They were pissed.
I would be too. I remember Marshall Faulk on the NFL Network. He was like, "Oh shit!" Like he was like, "What?"
Like, and they gave a second-round pick just to go up 9 slots for. And I think Deion Jordan's pretty talented. I think him and Cameron Wake could be a nice duo, but as we all know, left tackles are really important.
Yeah, they are important, but also just a fun stat. Only 4 tackles to be drafted in the first round by their original team have won the Super Bowl. So that's a fun little stat for all you people that say offensive line is so important. Because, like, yes, O-line is important, but just remember, only 4 teams have won a Super Bowl when they've drafted a tackle. That's why I was like telling people, like, why would they draft a tackle? Like, if I was an NFL GM and in the Chiefs and they told me we gotta get Eric Fisher, I'd be like, no, I'm drafting Tavon Austin fuck you. I want my offense to look good. I'm not gonna draft a shitty tackle that I can find off free agency. That's what I don't understand about the Jaguars. You have Eugene Monroe and you draft Luke Jokel, who's clearly a left tackle to heart, when Andre Smith and a bunch of other right tackles are on free agency. Eric Winston. I mean, you have a bunch of other tackle options in free agency. Why are you drafting Luke Jokel?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just the name. I don't know.
I mean, guaranteed, half of those teams that did draft tackles next year will be in the same position they were. Most of them will. Pretty much most of the teams, like in the top 5 that dropped the tackles, will probably maybe in the same position. I guarantee the Jaguars will be.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about the Chiefs unless Alex Smith suffers another concussion. The Eagles, I think, have a good spot chance, but I think they're going to pick top 10 next year. I don't think they're going to go 9-7 and pick, top 16. I don't think that's possible for the Eagles at this point. Like, in all honesty, I just feel like, like the Bears, yeah, they're going to probably be picking lower than last year. Chargers, they might be in the middle of the road, but we don't even know yet because we don't know what Monty Tail is going to do, if he's over that problems, if he's going to be as good as he claims yet. And then, like, when it comes down to, like, who else drafted a tackle? Like,
I know the Cardinals drafted guard.
well, they drafted Cooper, and also a lot of people don't know, like, their tackles were fine. Like, both tackles only, like, the guards in the center is what, like, hurt the Arizona Cardinals when they were giving up sacks and fumbles.
That O-line was getting, I remember watching that game against San Francisco. That O-line was getting manhandled from the interior.
Yeah. So the guards and centers, I understand you need to draft that. I mean, because like, in all honesty, if you're the Cardinals, it's like, yeah, we have Carson Palmer, but Carson Palmer has Larry Fitzgerald, and that's a good receiver for him to throw to. So anything's better than what we had now. Like, I understand why they didn't go for quarterback there. Well, what I don't understand is the Browns pick, Barkevius Mingo. What was the Brown fan doing? Was he pissed off?
None of them were around me, but I know Jeff fans were kind of interested in him, man. I guess Browns, they kind of wanted to bolster their pass rush. I think they're confident in their secondary, and now they want to do him and Kruger, which could be a nice duo. But I don't know, like, who could the Browns have taken there? That's just weird. Like, the draft, like, they just didn't have enough options for
They could have traded with so much more teams. Like, I felt like what fucked them up was like that they weren't expecting like Eric Fisher to be the first pick, and they weren't expecting the Jaguars to take Luke Jalko. Like, this is what I think what the Browns were trying to do. They were trying to bait San Diego or someone else that needed a left tackle to come down to them. They were trying to bait them. They were just going to be like, okay, we will trade you this pick. If they're still there. I mean, I'm pretty sure that like one of them will go to Philly, and then the last one can be yours. We will trade down to your 11. Just give us a second round pick, and blah blah blah, and we'll be all good because we need a second round pick. And San Diego would have been like, yeah, sure, why not? Because I'm Tommy Telesco and I'm 40 years old. I'll do whatever. And pretty much, Lane Johnson did not fall to where the Browns were, or Luke Jokel didn't fall to the Browns were. So pretty much they lost San Diego as a trade. They couldn't find anyone that wanted that 6th position because like no one in the late rounds did not want to go to that 6th position. They're like, we don't know who we're going to draft at that 6th position. There's no one really we want to draft at that 6th position. And then later on, when you go to the middle rounds, no one was like interested in Sharif Floyd. Sharif Floyd must have done Warren Sapp shit or something. Like, remember when Warren Sapp was balling back in like the '95 draft? It's like no one wanted to touch whatever Sharif Floyd was doing, so no one wanted to move up to him. So the Browns pretty much were stuck at 6. I felt at 6 they should have said, "Fuck it, we're gonna fuck up the Steelers draft, Jarvis Jones." But no, they're just like other idiot teams and passed up on Jarvis Jones.
It's funny, Sharif Floyd actually sat 8 rows away from me.
Huh?
He had a big family with him. Sharif Floyd sat 8 rows away from me.
Oh, yeah. How many people did he have in his seat?
I think about 8. He had a pretty set.
Was Jarvis Jones there in New York or no?
I didn't see him, no.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised he didn't go.
Now, the other big reaction was, and I think a team that definitely did a great job was the Rams.
Oh.
They had picks to use because the whole RG3 trade from last year. And getting Tavon Austin is really huge for him because, they're going to be in that division where you got, San Fran, Seattle's a tough defense. I think Arizona has a solid defense too. I know people forget about Arizona.
I don't know because Darrell Washington looks like he may be done for the season.
I thought he was like spending 4 games.
Not after when the domestic violence case came out today.
Oh.
He's pretty much. We don't even know what's up with Darrell Washington. Maybe who did they draft? That was a linebacker. Everyone's like, why are they drafting him? They have Darrell Washington. Well, now you know why they drafted that linebacker instead of and not trusting Darrell Washington.
Well, I just thought the Rams did a good job.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
You need a receiver to some kind of to break those against those top cornerbacks.
Oh yeah, no, definitely because they're like, all right, Buffalo, we know you don't want Tavon Austin in the AFC East. You guys don't want to draft Tavon Austin because you guys feel like there's other receivers that you can use. We will give you these picks, and we'll move up and we'll take Tavon Austin. Then afterwards they go, Atlanta, okay, I know that there's a cornerback that you guys want in this round. We will trade back for you just in case because there's a lot of cornerback needy teams in that certain area. And then later on, you think, that's what they're going to. I thought, that was the smartest move because then they get picks from Atlanta later on in the draft. And they pretty much rebuilt their draft. And they still get their guy in Alec Ogletree. They still get Alec Ogletree from Georgia. I thought they played the draft game really well. And then Stedman Bailey, of course, was an awesome pickup.
Yeah. It's I think with teams, though, about trading down just in general is I think the Patriots are the masters of it. You see literally every year Bill Belichick has like 3 second-round picks.
Yeah, no, every year that's what the Patriots do. They go, we're in the first round. What should we do? Unless there's like a talent that they really like, then they will take them. Like when the Dallas Cowboys traded with the 49ers, I was like, Dallas, you need a defensive tackle. Sharif Floyd's still there. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wow, the 49. I was literally about to just leave the room I was in with my friends, and then I had a couple 49er fans over because they thought they were going to get Sharif Floyd. They're like, oh, we're getting Floyd. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, just what you guys fucking need. More fucking defensive tackles so that way you can fucking be assholes. Like, I was so pissed off. I was in like 4 beers deep, so I'm like almost tipsy, and then we're drinking like glass bottles, Coors Light, and all this shit, dude. I was just so pissed off. I'm like, this is why the 49ers are the douchebags of the NFL. They do this shit.
Successful douchebags.
They are. It's just like, they're just like, oh, Cowboys, let's go. But they drafted Eric Reed, so thank God that did not happen where they got Sharif
replaced Goldson, which was a good move.
Yeah, but just imagine if we always say this, secondary's good, but just think about who's in the front 7. The front 7 normally causes the turnover because then quarterbacks spaz out because some big old fucking defensive lineman's coming after them to throw it. And that, look at the Giants. Their cornerbacks mostly, besides Prince Akamura, are not really that great. But thanks to their front 7 always being something that's so monstrous and always gets to the quarterback to get interceptions. That's the thing. The 49ers got Sharif Floyd, Eric Reed. It's Kenny Vaccaro was already gone. So it's pretty much the best safety in this draft next to Jonathan Cyprien, which I was surprised they didn't take. I thought they were going to take him, but whatever. But it was just I thought they were so getting Sharif Floyd, and I was like, God damn, those douchebags.
Well, since I was in New York, and of course, there's going to be a lot of Jet fans there. Jets were up, and there was a positive reaction for Dee Milner, and I think that was a good pick. The one issue is that, you drafted Kyle Wilson 3 years ago in the first round, and now you're pretty much going to put him as a nickelback, pretty much losing hope on him. But
yeah.
He stays healthy, though. Dee Milner's going to be a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, no, exactly. I just don't understand the pickup of Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, God, he got booed a lot. Honestly, if I'm in the Jets in position, sure, I would like to trade down, but wouldn't you have wanted to reach on maybe a Tyler Effort or even maybe a Cornelius Patterson, just some kind of skill player?
Yeah, no. Well, the thing with Cordell, why most teams don't want to reach is because he's still raw at the wide receiver position. And then the thing about Tyler Eifert is just that I don't know why they didn't reach for Tyler Eifert. That makes a good point because wouldn't you want to surround Geno Smith with weapons? That's what I'm thinking. Tyler Eifert, that's why the Bengals, I think could surprise everyone and actually do shit next year because they're smart. They're like, oh, well, our tight end is getting older, Jermaine Gresham. He's not really that great. But here's Tyler Eifert, the stud from Notre Dame, that made Everett Goldston look like a credible quarterback. And we look at his teammate, Kyle Rudolph, and look at what he's doing for a guy like Christian Ponder. Look at Andy Dalton, who already looks good with A.J. Green. Let's just add another weapon for him. I mean, that's a smart move. I mean, think about it. Like Kyle Rudolph, how good does he make Christian Ponder look? I mean, Ponder's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but when you look at Kyle Rudolph, dude, this dude's a monster. I like watching Rudolph play.
In terms of the Bengals, though, like I still think they kind of need a second. Eifert's a great pick, but I'm a little surprised they didn't reach for, say, a Hopkins. You know, he wouldn't be a reach or a Patterson. Like I still think they need receiver help, man. They haven't really got that person compared to Houston. I think Houston obviously made the wise choice taking a receiver.
Oh yeah,
they desperately need
help. They took Roddy White 2.0 and DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are saying he's probably like 2.0.
No, he literally is Roddy White 2.0. He's like big as Roddy White. His hands are like Roddy White's, where like he'll drop the ball maybe once or twice a year, and if he does drop the ball, it's because he had like 2 defenders on him and one of them like punched it out of his hands. Like that's what DeAndre Hopkins is, and he's really, really fast. Like that's what I liked about what the Texans did in the first round. Like they're like, oh, we need a receiver, and at the time, like Keenan Allen, they're like, oh, we don't know about his knee, but we might want to draft him because he's different. And then Justin Hunter, like I think Justin Hunter was a solid pickup for Tennessee. I think Tennessee did a great job with Justin Hunter, especially with Kenny Britt being an idiot most of the time and him being out of contract next year. Might as well get a new number 1 receiver now.
Yes. Yeah, Kenny Britt, man. He's got about, 5 arrests?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's but going through a draft, most picks, most people are quiet. Like, you don't see a lot of Panther fans there. And, I mean? We got a few Colt fans in front, so it's very cool. But mostly they were Giant fans. And then, obviously, the funny thing was, this comes out of nowhere. She left early, but if you didn't see the picture, there was actually one Falcon fan there that I met. And she was like, what was she? She was from Philly. She was pretty attractive, but she had a boyfriend. It was like very nice. I'm like, but cool to even see one Falcon fan. I'm like, wow, we actually got some. She was wearing a Roddy White jersey, and I had the Julio jersey. I was like, oh shit, this looks kind of cool. But in terms of the crowd, though, just like being there at the NFL draft, you just talk to so many different people. You get to debate. You get to, just it's rare to be in such a situation where you could talk to possibly all different 31 teams that represent them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Just wild. I'm just like, wow. And you don't see a lot of football jerseys anymore because they're kind of baggy. Like, it's April, who's wearing football jerseys? Everyone was wearing them. It was just awesome. I was in my Julio Jones jersey, like, hey,
Yeah, did you feel like when you were wearing your Julio Jones jersey, you're like, I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to wear their jerseys. Like, did you feel like you may have been out of the picture a little bit?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of hardcore fans, so I did kind of expect them to see the jerseys. Although I went with 2 Giant fan friends, they didn't really wear jerseys. They wore just like sweatshirts, so it was a little weird. But
did they wear their team sweatshirts at least? Did they wear like stuff that said New York Giants on it?
Yeah, they won their Super Bowl winning sweaters, because they love to rub it in my face. And,
we won the Super Bowl because we faced the Patriots twice, and we know how to beat the Patriots. Hey, congratulations! Try to beat another team in the Super Bowl, assholes. Yes, winning your 4 Super Bowls against teams from the AFC East does not really matter. Okay, you beat the 2 Bills teams, and then you beat the 2 Patriot teams. Congratulations. They face the same teams every year, like in the Super Bowl. They don't face anyone different.
And just to wrap it up, I know we're going to talk NBA Custom, but I just want to talk about the Falcons pick and how I got on TV exactly. So when the Giants were up, well, just where we were sitting next to the NFL Network booth. You saw Maya, Eisen, Mariucci, Sanders, all those guys, Michael Irvin. Like, we were by there. Now on the other side was the ESPN guys. And I don't know, this isn't me being biased or anything, but a lot of people, I don't know which channel you watch, but a lot of people watch the NFL Network.
Oh, I watch it on the NFL Network. I don't watch the ESPN, because
Kuiper, right?
Yeah, Kuiper's a fucking moron. I hate that idiot. He rags on every team like for no apparent reason. Like he just rags on every pick. Like it's like the worst pick ever. He's just I like Todd McShay. I think Todd McShay is a genius. But Mel Kiper, like he's just an idiot. He's just like someone that just like if he doesn't have a boner for you, and pretty much he has boners for like the weirdest fucking people in the draft. Like he loved Oakland's DJ Hayden pick because like what happened was like at my draft party I had two TVs set up. One TV was for uh, NFL Network, and one TV was for ESPN because some of the people did not want to watch NFL Network. A lot of people said we don't like NFL Network, we like ESPN setup. So I said, okay, I'm just going to set up two TVs. But I love NFL Network coverage because Mike Mayock always gets everything right. He's a genius when it comes to checking out prospects. And he's always spare about how he evaluates the talent. He's not like Mel Kiper, who just says, "Oh, they're idiots," and bashes his team. He says, I don't think it's the right pick, but in the near future, it could benefit them. Like he goes through step by step, and I love Mike Mayock.
Yeah, it's just because when you listen to Mike Mayock, he just seems so passionate in what he does, and like just really, obviously knows his stuff, but like he really truly loves the game. Like he doesn't. I think he would do this for free if they were a asshole to stream. But I don't know. I just when he calls stuff, I'm always my ears are open. And I love how he does the Thursday night games.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love Mike Mayock. I just feel like Mel Kiper is just like an idiot sometimes, but Mike Mayock, like he's just like he'll tell you what's a bad pick. He'll be like Travis Frederick. He's like I had him as a third round grade. It was a need for the Cowboys, but they could have gotten a better player in this situation. You'll just start laughing and be like, I mean, Travis Frederick's not a bad guy, and you'll name the positives of Travis Frederick, and then he'll be like, but for the first round, Jerry Jones could have done better. Not like Mel Kiper's is like, what idiots? This is why the Cowboys will never make a Super Bowl.
And then you got Gruden saying, "Oh, I love this guy 95% of the time."
Yeah. And then Chris Berman's like, beer, beer, beer. I want some beer. I'm drunk. Oh, boom.
The Bears are on the clock.
Yeah. Coach Ditko, what do you think the Bears have to do here? Oh.
So when the Giants were up, we were saying by Apple Network booth, and when the Giants were up, my friend got on TV for about 8 seconds because we didn't see like who got picked from a direct point of view. We had to look at a TV, see the person.
Yeah, continue. Are you there? Yeah.
So he got on TV, my friend Nick and other friend Keith, because the Giants fans, they had a good section. And they were near the cameras, and they were, they're waiting for Giants pick, and they were pretty upset with the Giants pick. Tom Pugh, I don't know, they said they had him as a second round pick, and I don't know, some Giant fans didn't want Teo, and the other ones would say, no, we don't want that shit. So I don't think Teo would fit well with the Giants. I think Teo is good in a 3-4 scheme, like
San Diego has him in the 3-4 screen. At first, I was upset with the Teo pick, Monty Teo, but then again, I thought San Diego has a great Samoa community. We do need a middle linebacker. Our defense is younger. And not to mention, like, fuck it. Like, if Manti Teo, and I know a lot of people, like, give Notre Dame a lot of shit throughout this college season, but if Manti Teo can lead a fucking Notre Dame team to the BCS title and, like, help revive a defense, that would be nice for the Chargers to have for 3 to 4 years down the road. Hopefully revive the defense as we get older and have legit Reyes, Teo, Butler, and all those guys like grow with each other, and Eric Weddle when he's like right now at his prime help Teo learn to be a leader. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good fit with the Chargers. You getting hopefully within 3 years we can develop. Just hoping he forgets just pretty much all the drama that's happened over there.
He's already forgotten about that. He's just like, I'm just a normal kid, and I'm here to play football. I'm number 50, and Chase is up buying his jersey as we speak, and I am buying his jersey.
Nice. So just wrap it up. So yeah, basically he knew the spot, and the guy right for John, he's a Rams fan. So when the Rams in Atlanta made that trade, I was like kind of about to treat him, and all of a sudden my friend goes, "Oh, they're moving the camera. Well, watch out, they're going to put the screen on you." And for some reason, there was about 10 TVs next to me. the TV was like on an 8 second delay, and I'm moving and I'm looking at the TV screen. I'm like, wait, they're kind of late right now. So it was just kind of weird. And then next to you was a Buccaneers fan. There was one Buccaneers fan, and there was a Niners fan. This one Niners fan just, playfully saying, "Oh, Colin Kaepernick to be 2-0 against the Falcons in 2013." He was talking a lot of shit. So I was kind of going at with him, and I don't know. I got like 5 pictures sent to me, and the best picture, shout out to my friend Jamil. He's a big Falcons fan. Puts this picture of me, put my arms up. It kind of looks like I'm doing a Randy Orton pose for all the rest.
Yeah, I saw that.
And basically, that's just me like getting frustrated. I'm just like, Goodell, make the pick already. And no, I wasn't doing the what chance. I know there's a lot of what chance there. I was too busy actually talking to people. I have the energy to do freaking what chance. So when I saw it on TV, my news feeds are getting blown up a lot. So I just shut off my phone because I really want to keep my phone on during the draft. I want to just watch the draft. The only time I put my phone on was really just for the Jets pick because I wanted to see everyone's reaction.
Oh, I didn't even tweet my reaction. I was like, oh, D. Milner solid, and then Sheldon Richardson stupid.
Yes.
He's not Aldon Smith.
I left right after the Houston pick, so I didn't see the Minnesota pick because I had to catch a train in. Atlanta already picked, so I don't know. We didn't have much incentive to stay, but yeah, when I heard about that Minnesota trip, wow, I like putting this past. He gave a lot of picks. It's kind of like the Julio Jones trade from a few years ago, giving up all those picks minus the order.
Don't worry, because when Christian Plunder sucks again, they will draft Johnny Football.
Oh man, that'll be a very dynamic offense. You have him, Peterson, Greg Jennings, Peterson.
And also, guys, no, the Vikings will not be a losing team because Johnny Football's draft stock next year is not that high. A lot of people think that Johnny Football may be the #1 overall pick next year. No. Terry Bridgewater, David Fales are the #1 quarterbacks next year. Johnny Football is going to have a kind of okay year next year.
Yeah, he's obviously the big popper name right now. I guess we'll have to see.
He's the biggest college football star since Bo Jackson. In all
I think with Tebow.
No, Tebow did not have Chris Paul asking for a photo.
Oh man.
Dude, Johnny Manziel's getting all this free shit. He was at the NFL draft. They invited him there just to go hang out.
Wow. That's pretty insane. That tells the story. But
yeah, no, he's the most interesting man in the world apparently. So here's Johnny Manziel.
I know we're gonna talk playoffs soon. Just to wrap everything up. So if you're in, if you want to travel to New York sometime, I totally recommend going. But don't pay for it. Just wait on line for a few hours. You talk to so many fans. You can just really have a good time overall. And I was a little skeptical at first, but I really came out of there really enjoying it. And
did you get
favorite sport?
Do you have to get tickets for day 2 and 3, or do you just show the bracelet and then you go?
Honestly, I wish I could give you a right answer, but I'm not gonna bullshit. I really don't know because my friend knew a lot of the information, but yeah, you have to do research on. But
yeah, because I would go to day 2 and 3 just to be like, hey, yeah, I know this fucker. He sucked in college.
But yeah, honestly, yeah, if you want to do that, I guess you gotta do research for people listening. But I can only give you a straight answer. But day 1, man, goes from, I guess, 8 to 12, and it's a blast. I really enjoyed it. So that's
I definitely want to go to an NFL draft. It just sucks. The one trip that I will make that's football related is when Mr. Number 21, LaDainian Tomlinson, gets into the Hall of Fame. I'm definitely making a trip to Canton to go see him speak. One of my favorite players of all time, and Sean Alexander's never making the Hall of Fame, so I don't think that I'm ever going to go see him. But hopefully one day. Maybe he'll get some consideration. But moving on forward, we got the NBA playoffs. This has been one of the, I would say, most exciting first rounds, minus one matchup that I think no one's really watching. But a lot of game 6s, only 2 sweeps in the first round. Boston and Houston look like they're making miracle fucking strides in this playoffs. Down 3-0, now it's just 3-2. We're heading to game 6s for those games. We got game 6 with Memphis and LA. Clippers, of course, not the Lakers. They got swept. Then also we got game 6 with the most exciting teams ever, the Hawks and the Pacers. That's probably the series no one is watching. And Game 6 with Brooklyn and Chicago, where like Nate Robinson has drinking some Michael Jordan secret water from Space Jam because he's playing on a whole nother planet for the Bulls right now. Even though he's taking weird ass shots, he's still playing really good. And then of course Miami and the San Antonio Spurs. Right now they're probably like just chilling, watching the games on their TV. Miami's probably just looking at Chicago and Nets, and the Spurs they're probably playing bingo or something. I don't know. They do some weird stuff.
I got breaking news, and I know you're going to be interested in this. This is pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
Your Timberwolves have fired David Kahn, general manager.
Oh my God, there is a Lord out there.
I wanted to say it now because I want to hear your reaction. But yeah,
this is the greatest thing ever. Okay, let me just tell you about David Kahn. He's a fucking idiot. How in the blue fuck do you draft Corey Brewer and then you say, we're done with him, let's let him go? How in the blue fuck do you trade Brandon Roy in his, pretty much when Brandon Roy was relevant, for Randy Foye? You know where Randy Foye is? In fucking Utah, playing second fiddle to Alec Burke and Gordon fucking Hayward. That is pathetic. You drafted this fuck over Brandon Roy? Yeah, sure, whatever. Brandon Roy retires. At least when he would retire for us, at least I would have at least maybe seen a playoffs. The only person you kept in the last 4 years is Kevin Love. And let's look, David Kahn, 2009 NBA draft. Ricky Rubio was your only good pick. Because then Johnny Flynn, oh, what a great pickup. Fucking terrible. Piece of shit. He's in Europe right now. And you trade Ty Lawson. Hello, David Kahn. There was a bunch of other people on that board that you could have taken. You gave Miami a free pick for Michael fucking Beasley. Okay? Yeah, like Beasley was going to be our savior. Dude, the fucking dude is too busy posting pictures of his fucking weed collection. Okay? I hate David Kahn. He's ruined his fucking organization. We haven't been in the playoffs. Next year, if we don't make the playoffs, it's been 10 years without the fucking playoffs. You know how sad it is for me as a fan to just fucking sit there and see. I was so pissed off at this, okay? One of my Boston Celtic friends told me he doesn't care that his Celtics are in the playoffs. He doesn't care. And I said, fuck you, bitch. I haven't seen playoff basketball in the Target Center in over 9 years. I haven't seen any of that shit. I don't want to hear any fan say, I don't care if my team makes the playoffs. Shut the fuck up. Because some of us fan bases out there like the Wizards, the fucking Cavaliers after LeBron left, the fucking, who else sucks? The Bobcats after, who was on that Bobcats team that made the playoffs? It was a pretty solid team. It wasn't like anything.
Steven Jackson, Gerald Wallace, I think Felton was still on that team.
Yeah, exactly.
Good 7 seed.
Yeah, they were solid. I thought they could just win one game. I didn't think they were going to go all the way, but solid team. Like you don't understand. Some of us fans would love the opportunity. Like I was happy we just won 30 games this season. 31 games? I mean, thank God we kept Rick Adelman. And actually, Kevin Love, after all the bitching you did, maybe these people finally wake up. Maybe we will hire a good GM. I hope the next GM is better than fucking David Kahn. I hope David Kahn should be outlawed from the NBA. If any team hires him, you are idiots. You are pretty much never going anywhere. Hell, I would rather take Michael Jordan as our GM than David Kahn. And Michael Jordan sucks.
Worse than Kahn. It can't get much worse.
He's just terrible. He's really, really terrible. So I'm really interested to see who the Timberwolves will move up in their staff. I'll have to call my boy Alan Horton. I got to make sure I know what his take it is. If you guys don't know who Alan Horton is, he's the Wolves. Pretty much he has every connection to the Timberwolves. I call him like probably daily, just a bitch about the Timberwolves, and he likes talking to me. So I got to ask him about that. But hopefully, it just changes the whole organization because we're a mess right now. We haven't kept any of our NBA draft picks. We've drafted terribly. We can't sign any free agents worth a damn. Swear to God, like the worst thing we've ever did was accept that KG Al Jefferson trade. Once we did that, I knew our team was going nowhere.
Man, that's a good summary. I follow every NBA team, and I do think the Timberwolves have good young potential. But I remember, like, what did Kahn do? He drafted Rubio and Johnny Flynn in like the same
back to back, 5 and 6,
the same position really, and he was starting to become like a punchline. I remember like Bill Simmons would make fun. Like
Yeah,
I
everyone
think this
did.
is a positive move for the Timberwolves in a very competitive Western Conference.
No, no, like it was stupid. Like everyone would be like, "Oh, I wonder if the Timberwolves are going to draft another point guard," and then they would just laugh, and I'll be like, "Haha, that's fucking funny, huh?" Like, did you know after that happened and Ricky Rubio said, "No, I have to finish my contract in Spain." You know how much I did not want to wear a Timberwolves shirt to school ever again, and how much ridicule I got, like saying, "Hey Chase, how does it feel that Ricky Rubio does not even want to play on your own team?" And I
No,
said, "Oh my god, just shut up!" Like I pretty much just owned the Timberwolves for a little bit. Not just owned them. I still kept in track, but I didn't watch a game. Like I did this season, I was so misguided by what we did, and also Timberwolves. If you love me, do not sign that injury-prone Nikolai Pekovic. Yes, he's a monster on the boards. Yes, he does good things, but he's too much of a liability. I want anyone that gets injured every minute off my damn team. I want people that can stay healthy, goddammit. I want you to play at least 75 games a season, okay? Or at least maybe 70. I'm not asking for a bunch of Russell Westbrooks on my team, but I'm just asking for consistency. But moving on forward to the playoffs, let's talk about the least interesting series first, because honestly, I think half of you guys are like, wait, that's a series? Hawks and Pacers.
yeah, let's break down each series, and this one's been kind of a seesaw battle, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little let down by Indiana because I think I expect them to be like a real top contender. I think Indiana kind of their records kind of inflated based on how weak the Eastern Conference is, but
Yeah.
I don't really see much to win. And the fact that Indiana's kind of struggling with them, I know they won by 22 last night, but the fact that they couldn't really win a road game or really stay competitive in those games is kind of alarming to me.
Yeah, those road games are killing Indiana. Like, I feel if they just go on the road against any team, they're just going to get their asses kicked. Like, they haven't been playing good on the road. Like, and especially in Atlanta where you have all this drama. I mean, like, with Josh Smith, he doesn't even want to be there. And Atlanta's team is not really even that great. I mean, it's just like a bunch of misfits trying to play basketball. Like, Lou Williams getting hurt by Atlanta really hurt them early on in the season. Like once Lou Williams is out, I was like, well, there goes any shot Atlanta even making the second round. That's what I said because Lou Williams has been very underrated for most of his career, and he's a pretty solid player. He just needs to grow. Al Horford though, he definitely stepped up big this season, but even then, it's just like it's the same story with the Hawks. They always seem like maybe they can at least make it to the second round. Hell, maybe even surprise us with the Eastern Conference Finals appearance. But they always get injured, and there's always some team drama that they have to fix. So, in all honesty, here the Hawks just look like they're just pretty much like not motivated. But at the same time, the Pacers can't win on the damn road. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to a game 7.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I just think Atlanta in a rebuild just based on they're definitely gonna lose Josh Smith this whole season, and just how many years can you go just barely either winning or losing in the first round? It's been like 6 years now, just doing pretty much nothing, just
Yeah,
staying. Yeah,
and it's like the Atlanta Hawks fans, like, dude, they don't show up to the regular season games. Like, if you watch like a Hawks game on TV, and they will appear every once in a while on TV, there's like no one in the crowd. Like, there's like probably a couple people, like not like a couple people, but like a couple hundred, like 1,000 people in there, but not like sold out. Like the only time the Hawks ever grab anyone is the playoffs. Same with the Pacers. Like they don't grab anyone in the regular season. They just grab people from the playoffs. Like none of their fans really show up for regular season games. Like
boy.
it's like to be honest here, it's like with the Hawks, they do need to rebuild. I don't know what they're doing with Jeff Teague. I haven't really heard much from Jeff Teague this season. Like last season, I was like, oh, Jeff Teague looks like he's improving. Now it's just like, what's he doing now? Like is he really the guy you want to build your team around? Like, obviously, Luis Williams is someone that you could build your team around in the near future. But in all honesty, they just do need to rebuild. They need to overhaul that roster and kind of think things through throughout the process of the offseason, see what they need to do when they're entering the NBA draft. Like that's what they did. They fucked themselves over. They made the playoffs because the East is so weak, and they can't really get a really top notch guy in this NBA draft. So it's like I don't know. I think the Hawks pretty much. I I think
You know,
I think the winner, the biggest winners in this series, though, I feel like with this series, at least they're lucky enough that the Celtics somehow are pulling a magical comeback because now when it comes down to it, because like fresh legs mean everything in the NBA playoffs. I mean, Miami, they don't really need this long ass break, but they don't mind it. I mean, hell yeah, go right ahead, Brooklyn, Chicago, go to a game 7. That'll be good enough for us. But for the Spurs, oh hell yeah, they're probably rooting on doesn't Golden State hold the lead? They're probably rooting for Denver to go to a game 7. If I was Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, I'm saying keep on going to a game 7. Go to a game 7. Like
it's just almost impossible, like lately, to beat Golden State on the road. You know, to go in there and win. So Denver, they're gonna have a tough time tonight, but that's really been a fun series. I really enjoy that series.
yeah,
And
it's probably the
it's
most.
just toss up, but it seems like Golden State's unstoppable at home,
Yeah,
and that's what they're gonna beat tonight.
Yeah, Stephen Curry, he turns like Super Saiyan when he's like at home, dude. Like that dude, like I always said, if he was ever healthy, Golden State would be a threat. And it's such a damn shame that people are just finally realizing what a talent he is in basketball. It's just such a damn shame no one ever knew who Stephen Curry was till now. Like I have these fake ass fans that I see on Facebook and Twitter be like, Steph Curry, one of my favorite players in the league. Like, no, you never knew who Steph Curry was. Shut up. Like I like Steph Curry. I was hoping that we would draft him over Rubio. I was like, oh, give me Steph Curry. This guy can shoot 3-pointers. And like, come on. I mean, this guy's a really solid player, and it shows like with Mark Jackson and what he did with Steph Curry and how Steph Curry has been healthy this whole season, what kind of teams the Warriors can be in years to come. I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors are the team to beat with Steph Curry and a young. I always get these two rookies. They have Harrison Barnes, right? Not Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
They got Harrison Barnes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I always get Gilchrist and Barnes mixed up. Gilchrist is on Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always get those two mixed up. Maybe because they're both small forwards.
Yeah, they're kind of so they're like slashy small forwards. They're more of drive guys. They don't spot up and take jump shots all the time.
Yeah, it's like so I always get those confused. And like Klay Thompson really doing a great job shooting the ball. Like like Golden State has done a really good job with what pieces they have there, and the veteran presence. Like they show you how some NBA teams like should be built. They should have a nice, good aged, medium ranged starting 5, and then afterwards on the bench you have a couple of young players, but you mostly have veterans that come onto that bench and do well for you. So really, to be honest, I feel Golden State's in a good position. I wouldn't be surprised if they won tonight and Denver was sent packing.
That's a big shame. I really thought Denver, especially if they had Gallinari, would be a big sleeper to maybe even push for the finals.
Oh,
now,
I think with Gallinari, they like you said, they would have pushed for the finals. I agree with that.
They have so many good weapons, but the issue with Denver is at times they kind of fall in love with the 3-pointers, and then they don't have much dependable scores. Like Lost is dependable, and Iguodala to some extent, but a lot of the guys are just role players who go cold, like Corey Brewer and Wilson Chandler, and they don't know what they're going to get at JaVale McGee at times.
Yeah,
there's a lot of inconsistent guys on Denver, but they're super talented.
Also, Kenneth Faried, like remember, he came into this playoff series not even 100%. He was 100%. The Manimal would be a big factor, especially with Golden State not having arguably their best power forward and an arguable top 10 power forward in the league in David Lee. David Lee is very, very underrated in my perspective. Yes. I think that David Lee doesn't get a lot of credit. It's such a shame that they lost him because if they still had David Lee, pretty much like I think the Warriors would have a better shot.
Absolutely, man. If they had David Lee, I think the series might have been over by now. And he's like, I think he's kind of underappreciated, but he could score from so many different ways. He's improved his jump shot. He can drive. He's pretty. I think he's very crafty. And you have Bogut next to him. It's a nice duo, but to me, Golden State, I can't see them getting past San Antonio.
Oh,
it's
no.
Gonna be hard. Like, anything could happen, especially when they have players like Stephen Curry. But it's been a great run though, because look, they didn't make the playoffs last year. So
Yeah, I see them taking over the Pacific Division pretty damn soon, especially if the Lakers are still going to be old and not hire Brian Shaw. Like, Lakers, hire Brian Shaw if you ever want a chance to win anything ever again. Um,
Uh, Lakers will go for those big name coaches. They'll get someone with a name. That's just how they are.
I just feel bad for Brian Shaw because like he learned under Phil Jackson for all those years. You would think that he was going to be the next Lakers coach.
Yeah, and he was one of those reliable veterans from back in the day. Yeah, he wasn't much of a scorer, but he was very, he played defense and he's handled the ball handling responsibilities. So I would give him a chance, but it's just the Lakers. They go for those names, man. Like I could see him going for like Jerry Sloan in the offseason. I think they like.
What's the status on Mike Brown? Is he in Cleveland again?
Yeah, I feel bad for Cleveland.
The Princeton offense is back, people.
Is there any point to give Mike Brown a coaching job?
I don't know. I mean, he's taking one team to the NBA Finals. He has some resume, I guess.
Anyway, let's go to the other series. Clippers, Grizzlies. That's another game into the sixth, going to six, and
is Blake Griffin
trouble,
is Blake Griffin going to play the sixth game, or is he still day to day?
He's day to day, but Blake is. He's a tough guy, but the issue is, as tough as a player could be, if he's not running, he's going to be ineffective.
Yeah, that's true. Because no offense to Blake Griffin's game, if he's not able to run the court and catch lobs and really use his feet well to do those, I don't even know if he calls
maybe hook shots. He's very crafty, Blake Griffin, and he's not taking a lot of jump shots. He's going to be in the paint, muscling around, but
on that ankle against Gasol and Zebo, I don't know. I don't think you can muscle around with a bad ankle against Zebo, especially Marc Gasol. Like he's really grown into a defender. Like I bet you the Lakers now are regretting trading him for his brother.
Yeah. Well, Marc Gasol, I think he's Defensive Player of the Year. I think they announced that a few days ago. But
yeah,
I was watching highlights and just Blake couldn't get through the motions. He was just really stumbling.
Yeah, and also speaking of awards, Damian Lillard beat out Anthony Davis for Rookie of the Year, and Bradley Beal came in with the third place. And I agree with what Mark Jackson said. Mark Jackson's like, Harrison Barnes gets no respect in this league, and I'm like, yeah, why doesn't he get respect? I mean, he's one of the few rookies in the. Is he like one of the only rookies in the playoffs? Pretty much that is a top 5 pick.
I agree. Yeah, I think he is one of the few, and I think Anthony Davis. I think he's gonna be a talented player, but I don't think he should have been a talented player. I would have gave more love to Barnes. I think Bradley Beal definitely deserves some love, but obviously Lillard was a lot. No way.
No, because like Lillard was just like the Portland Trailblazers were like, all right, we're gonna live and die by you. Don't injure yourself. We already have too much of that. Don't remind us of bad times. Give the ball to Aldridge if he's open. And that's another guy who's underappreciated. Is L.A. LaMarcus Aldridge. He's another underappreciated guy in the league.
So what do you think's going to happen tomorrow night with Memphis and Clippers? I think Memphis is going to finish the man. Blake's not effective.
Yeah, without Blake Griffin. Because Blake Griffin is a difference maker. Like, as much as most people don't think, I know a lot of people feel like Blake Griffin is overhyped. And I wouldn't use the term overrated. Overrated is like when you're like Kwame Brown, okay? That's like when people say like, you're supposed to be good, but you suck. But Blake Griffin is definitely like very overhyped by the media. But he is a difference maker for the Clippers. Like, he helps Chris Paul spread the floor. He helps Jamal Crawford out. He helps Caron Butler out. He does a lot of stuff to help a lot of teams out because a lot of teams have to pay a close attention to what Blake Griffin can do sometimes in the post and his dunking ability and just how effective he is on the fast break. There's not a lot of big men in the league that are effective in the fast break, and without Chris Paul, with Chris Paul, not without that really good number 2 option. I mean, yeah, Jamal Crawford's a solid scorer. Yeah, Caron Butler is Mr. Reliable. DeAndre Jordan, thinking of another player. But DeAndre Jordan, I'm sorry, I'm not passing to him in the post. If I see DeAndre Jordan in the post, I'm like, no. You try to find a way to get wide open because I don't trust you being guarded by anyone. And then who else do they have? Who's their other power forward? I don't even know if they have a backup power forward.
Ronnie Turioff.
Oh, really? Ronnie Turioff?
Yeah, he's in there.
he's no Kenyon Martin. I mean, I like that veteran over. I like that veteran over Roddy Turiaf, but yeah, like the Lob City Clips, like especially in this situation, like if they have Blake Griffin and they won this game, guaranteed going to OKC with no Westbrook, Chris Paul is going to have a field day against a Derek Fisher. Let me just say that. Like without what?
Mike Conley, I think Mike Conley is a little underappreciated.
Oh no, Mike Conley would have a field day too, but I'm just saying like Chris Paul's a great point guard. Like Mike Conley's really good, but Chris Paul's like on a whole nother level. So it's like against old man Fish, I think he would destroy him. Like
yeah, he would, man. But no, Fish doesn't even play a lot though. To me, it's
Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, and he's pretty active. He's not great. Like he's kind of wild, but he's not going to be a complete defensive.
Is he like Avery Bradley for the Celtics? Does he like fuck up a lot?
Well, he's young. That's the thing. Avery Bradley's a good defender, but the issue with Avery Bradley is he's not a point guard. You
know? He's like what I would call if like you were bringing like a small front out there and you had him just as like the shooting guard next to Rajon. Then that works with Avery Bradley. I'll be like, yeah, that works, but not as a true point guard.
Yeah, it's just tough. You know, we'll get to the Clippers, not the Clippers, the Thunder Rock series, and I think Russell Westbrook. I think it's not even a top 10 player. I think he's close to being a top 5 player.
Oh yeah, I agree. Russell Westbrook, top 5, most definitely.
You know, and that's just a really significant loss, and I think this is the moment where they kind of miss James Harden. Like I thought at first they wouldn't miss James Harden as much because now Westbrook, you know, he could handle the ball more, and since Kevin Martin's more of a shooter.
Yeah, exactly. You make great points there. Yeah, I agree, especially with Russell Westbrook. You know, like because that was the thing when James Harden would come onto the court, he was like the lead ball handler for like Nick Collison and all those other boys that were from the bench squad. But now that he's gone, and now Russell Westbrook is out with an injury, unfortunately, it's like when you're a team and you're lucky enough to get a Kevin Durant, who's arguably the number 2 player in the league or number 3, depending on how you want to grade him and Melo's performance, because none of them are fucking LeBron James, okay? I don't want you to argue this with me. Any one of you, don't argue this with me. LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. So, Kevin Durant, like, you know, you get him, and then you get Russell Westbrook, who you could arguably say is a better point guard than a Derrick Rose or Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo or Deron Williams or hell, I would say this. I think Russell Westbrook is probably better than probably all the point guards, maybe a little bit less than Chris Paul. Maybe a little bit less. But even then, you know, he's a solid fucking player. I mean, huh?
That's very close.
Like, I think they're very solid. I mean, when you look at the MVP ladder race, how many teams have 2 players that are in the top 10 of the MVP ladder race? Not many. Like Dwayne Wade and LeBron were really close in the MVP race, but Russell Westbrook and KD, I mean, really solid players there.
Yeah, no, I think Wade's still a top 10 player. He's quietly had a really good season.
Oh yeah, no, he's had a tremendous season. I think because like LeBron had that. What was it, like 30-plus points per game and a 60% field goal percentage? Everyone forgot what Dwayne Wade was doing this season.
Yeah, Wade shot over 50%, and I think he averaged like 22 points a game. And yeah, Wade, he's still top 10, I think. But going back to the Rockets list, it's just amazing that the Rockets, you know, they look better without Jeremy Lin. And I kind of like Jeremy Lin, but there's times where he gets too wild and he kind of takes his team out of the game, but it's just surprising just what Houston's doing because they look like a dead team, especially after blowing that lead in Game 3. But
yeah, no, that was crazy. I was just like, what? What are you guys doing? Like, you're letting the Thunder really come back? Like, this is the first playoff game ever in the history, like in a long ass time where you guys actually do shit and you guys do this. Come on, guys. I mean, I know this is no Hakeem the Dream Rockets team, but come on. Can't let the Thunder come back like that. But, I feel Patrick Beverly is actually doing a really solid job. I don't think he's doing anything bad. I think he's doing solid.
I still think Oklahoma State will get through this series, but it has to be pretty alarming that it's tough. And Houston's a good young team. I like Houston. I think
Oh,
they got a future, but this isn't a great team by any means.
yeah, and the fact that they're going, and the fact that like young team is like really upsetting this seasoned veteran sort of young team you could say in Oklahoma City is just surprising. Like OKC up 3-0, you think it's over. OKC's done. There's no way OKC can lose this series. They're gonna sweep them. And now we're talking game fucking 6. That's a little bit alarming if you ask me. Game 6 is a little bit alarming.
It is. And that Houston crowd, I think that crowd's starting to become one of the better crowds because they get really behind guys. And
well, Houston always that whole Texas region, whether it's the Mavericks, the Spurs, or the Rockets. I mean, they get excited when it comes down to playoff basketball.
And James Harden, I think he's had a good series, but he's had some of his off games. I think he becomes too wild, but he stepped up to the plate though.
Mm-hmm. I agree with James Harden. Now, speaking of young teams coming back and upset, how about those old Celtics? They won't die. Hashtag Boston strong.
Oh man, when they barely won on Sunday, they blew that 20-point lead. I'm just like, all right, this is gonna be that one Boston victory. They're gonna get their home victory. The Knicks are will be sloppy because the Knicks are a good team, but let's face it, they're very sloppy. And
and there's no J.R. Smith there, so that was just lucky. But then all of a sudden in Game 5,
I do think the Knicks kind of shot themselves out of a loss, but nobody could deny Boston went 11 for 20 from 3-point range, and they were really efficient offensively. They took their time and made shots, and they definitely deserve that.
That's what makes Doc Rivers a great coach. Now, Doc Rivers, how come Austin Rivers doesn't take your advice and take time and make shots?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
In New Orleans, I don't know. I don't think he fits well there, especially now that Jervis Vasquez had a really good year.
Jervis Vasquez helped my fantasy team. Helped many fantasy teams, but that's what the Celtics do. See, that's what the Celtics like. They're that one team. It's like, oh yeah, Boston's gone. They can't do it, but they're like the Patriots. They always come back somehow. They always do something magical. They drink out of the fountain of youth. I think KG is like, yo, Tim Duncan, what are you drinking? And Tim Duncan's like, oh, I'm drinking sensu beans and all this other healthy stuff. And then Kevin Garnett drank that, gave it to Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is like, man, I feel like I'm 30 again. And it's like,
I don't know about that. I think Paul Pierce had a good series, but if you watch during the fourth quarter, man, he could barely pick up his legs, and it's pretty painful to watch. But hey, if there's anybody that can hit any difficult shot at any ridiculous angle, it is Paul Pierce.
The truth will set you free, as Paul Pierce would say. But I think the biggest storyline of this playoffs, and no one could deny, because Twitter was going crazy about this. A lot of my friends texted me about this. Tracy McGrady played 5 minutes for the Spurs. Yes. He finally makes it past the first round, people. T-Mac.
Good old T-Mac. He'll be riding the pine for those next few series. And, just quick thing on the Knicks, Celtics. I think the Knicks are going to win in 7. I do think Boston's going to win Game 6. I do think that home crowd's really going to
that home crowd's going to be all... You just won in MSG, baby. Now let's go to the TD Garden. They're going to be excited to go there.
I was talking to a few Knicks fans. Do you think, I think he's overrated, but I do think the Knicks kind of missed the Morris Stoudemire at times. I think they missed that.
No, totally. I agree with that. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, they've been playing better without Morris Stoudemire. But, come playoff time when you're facing the Heat or even the Pacers, who are abnormally bigger than most teams, how are you going to deal with those guys? That's without Stoudemire. Especially the Pacers. I mean, fucking Paul George, towers over almost every shooting guard in the NBA. Because most people tower over a lot of shooting guards. And then, Roy Hibbert, he hasn't had a great season. I don't know why, but he just hasn't. He's still big. I mean, David West is still solid. I mean, in all honesty, and then especially when you look at the Heat can run any front known to man in basketball. LeBron can play the 5 if he wants to.
pretty much.
And also, it
Yeah,
is
I think
proven.
pushed a little bit, but it depends who he's matching up with.
Well,
But
okay, against the Knicks, like Tyson Chandler, that's it.
yeah, he doesn't know what to do offensively. But I guess we'll look through the last Eastern Conference series because we're looking for threats against Miami. We can't really find any, but I do think Chicago's going to wrap it up tonight, and I really like Chicago. They're a solid team. They're kind of old school with how they play, but it's just a shame they're matched up with Miami in the second round. I would love to see Chicago Miami in the third round.
Yeah, me too. Now, some people were saying that D Rose should get some flack if he doesn't come back. Do you agree that D Rose should come back? Because, in my honest opinion, how do you go from being the MVP to suffering like a torn ACL, and then I understand that he doesn't feel 100%, but when you see a guy like Adrian Peterson tear an ACL and then do what he did, and then you could also add a Jamal Charles into that thing, and he had a pretty solid season for the NFL. And yeah, I know basketball and NFL totally different, but when you see like Adrian Peterson do that, and especially when you talk about other athletes who got injured, Kobe Bryant's going to be back soon. He's coming back in like December. He's not going to come back in January or February. This is fucking Kobe Bryant. He comes back whenever the fuck he wants. Do you feel like Derrick Rose should take some flack? I mean, he shouldn't be out for this long, in my personal
Well,
opinion.
he tore his MCL too, so that makes it kind of significant. But yeah, I think Rose, looking back on last year, I thought he was supposed to be back by March or April, whatever. At this point, though, I know there's been rumblings of come back. He shouldn't come back. It's just, I think Chicago, they gotta be real. They're not gonna beat Miami. Yes, why risk it? Let's rebuild for next year and restock talent. To really make that finals push next year. Because at this point, rushing him back on court against the best team in the league, it's just like you're kind of playing with fire. Chicago, they've done a good job. They've had a pretty inspirational season. They're about one win away from eliminating a Nets team that got a lot of hype going into the season.
Also hard. Brooklyn.
Chicago should be happy, and you gotta leave Rose alone for now. But I do think it's a little alarming that he hasn't come back by now.
Yeah, I just feel Derrick Rose, like a lot of people make jokes, like, and it's true, the Seattle Supersonics are coming back before Derrick Rose.
Oh.
Like, that's a sad thing to say. Like, if you would have told me, like, when Derrick Rose come back, I'd be like, well, he's a tough kid, like, but, like, for a guy that was considered MVP 2 seasons ago, and everyone's saying, like, the greatest point guard to play the game in a long-ass time, not to be gone for a whole year, do you think that affects, like, how he plays now?
Wait and see. That's all I can ask you. But maybe Rose is going to start improving on his jump shot rather than driving so many times. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see about that. But usually when guys go through serious injuries, they start learning, hey, we're going to have to, learn the mid-range shot. We're going to have to get more consistent. We're going to have to get the three-point shot more consistent. He's not going to be able to cut to lane as much as he used to.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I just want to ask one more thing before we wrap it up. What were your thoughts about Jason Collins becoming the first professional athlete being gay? And did you hear what Mike Wallace said about that when he heard it?
Oh, congrats to Jason Collins for coming out. I never had a problem with gay people.
Yeah, me neither.
And, it's pretty, it's pretty, what he did was pretty incredible, finally, announcing it and not caring, because, there's going to be people out there, there are ignorant people out there. Yeah. Chris Broussard. And, I'm not a Chris Broussard fan from the beginning, but I just, there's going to be people out there that's going to criticize you, and it's a risky move at times, because you know how the world is. There's still, not everyone's still pro, marriage.
I think a lot of people said it, like, yeah, it's cool that Jason Collins came out, but I feel like most people don't understand it, but I feel like, if anything, like, say, for example, and I'm not saying that any of these players are gay, but say, for example, like, Kevin Durant came out and said, like, he was gay. That would definitely change the world's opinion, like, a lot of people's opinions about gay people in general. Like, I feel that would definitely help. Or, like, just, like, any big-time NBA player or NFL player that, like, people know and they said they were gay, like, I don't think a lot of, except for Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady would get too much shit. I think Brady's like on a whole.
He's married, right? So that's kind of a bad example.
Huh?
He's already
no,
married,
but I'm just saying, like, if he wasn't married and he came out, I think Brady would get the most shit out of anyone that would come out.
True.
Like, but like, I feel like if someone on a higher profile came out, I feel a lot more people would be accepting of it. Like I just feel like with Jason Collins, like a lot of people were like, okay, cool. But did you hear what Mike Wallace said?
Yeah, oof, he really made himself sound like a complete retard. That's all to keep that.
In Miami, that's your new wide receiver.
Yeah,
Have fun
yeah,
with it.
he's talented, but
Have
guys
fun.
like him should not, be using social now.
Exactly. Like that's why it's smart when you have your agent tweet for you and not. That's why when RG3 gets all these nice response, do you think that's really RG3 tweeting? No, that's his fucking agent
Yeah,
asking RG3, "Hey man, what should I tweet?" And then RG3 saying like, "Tweet about God or something."
yeah. Well, that's what a lot of athletes do. If you notice, they're very religious because some of them are just not really that open minded. That's what I respect so much for UFC fighters. Sure, they put their training regimen and they really dedicate themselves, but a lot of them really give intelligent answers, and
Yeah.
they could show themselves that hey, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Exactly.
give me a second, sorry. No, I just think Mike Wallace. That's your kind of your first impression in Miami, and this is what you do. It just what a it's what ignorant statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It was just very ignorant, like what he said. It was just kind of like it was taken the wrong way. Like Ray Allen also tweeted something, and a lot of people thought that he was trying to be rude about it, but he was just saying no one's gonna change in the locker room because of this, and everyone thought that he meant that like no one was gonna change.
yeah,
And he's like, no, I meant no one's attitude's gonna change. So he should have put, but at least Ray Allen's not being an ass about it. And Jesus Shuttlesworth is a nice person anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But for the NBA playoffs, what is your finals prediction at this point? Since
well, yeah, it's kind of has to change now since Westbrook's out. I think Heat Spurs is kind of predictable prediction. I think it's gonna happen, but I said Heat Thunder in 6, but I'm gonna say Heat Spurs in 5. I just don't think San Antonio's gonna be able to keep pace.
no,
With the Heat style, the transition basketball and
yeah,
everything.
like I think San Antonio has a better chance. Like, see, the theme was I said the Thunder have a good chance against the Heat because in the NBA Finals format, 2-3-2, I felt like they could have done good on the three part where they're at three at home. But I
Oh,
feel like the Spurs' best chance is if the Heat somehow make it like if the Spurs sweep who they're facing in the finals, and then the Heat go to like a game 6 against whoever they're facing, and
yeah.
um, I think
I
that's their
like San
best
Antonio
chance.
a lot. Just Miami just on a whole other level, and I think Tim Duncan's really had quietly a really good year this year. I think people are kind of sleeping on Tim Duncan. Like,
Never sleep on Timmy D. Remember, David Robinson didn't win that championship. It was Tim Duncan.
so, wait,
No,
what's
no,
your prediction
huh?
quickly?
Oh, Spurs Heat winning in 6. I think that the Spurs can win 2 at home, but I think the Heat will steal 1 at home. And when I mean steal, people, I don't mean cheat. I mean like they win 1 on the road. I like to use the word steal. It sounds professional. And then they win it in Miami and game
San,
6.
San Antonio's a really good home team, so yeah, actually, I could see 6 more than 5.
Yeah.
San Diego's not San Diego. San Antonio's not really a pushover. They're gonna battle. They're gonna play hard defense. And Tony Parker, I think he's gonna have a pretty big
Yeah,
season.
I think if anything, I think Miami could probably win 3 in a row, like win the first one at in San Antonio's place, and then San Antonio wins 2, and then you get to a game 6 in Miami, and this is where Miami opens the floodgates. We get the normal finals blowout, and LeBron James celebrates as he gets the second ring, and people overstate the whole LeBron greater than Michael argument again.
And New York will still be crying because they still believe that he should have been a Nick from 2010. But
But
yeah,
remember,
when do you think we're gonna do this in a few weeks?
yes, exactly. The same thing. Except also we'll talk about the NBA draft because that'll be looming around the corner as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, sorry to rush off, but I got ahead on everything. But
It's all right. No big deal. We filmed like 2 hours worth of shit in one day, so it's okay with me.
nice. All right. So yeah, we'll probably be back. By the time second round or the Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals are going down. So
Yeah, hopefully there's some good matchups there. Hopefully it's nothing. Well, hopefully for the East's sake, there's good matchups for the West. I'm for the East's sake.
Knicks though, man. I know Knicks are kind of struggling right now, but I like to find somebody that wouldn't want to see Heat Knicks just based on the old school rivalry.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also with the whole LeBron versus Carmelo type deal, I like that rivalry.
So, all right, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to do what you do. Subscribe by clicking the little icon or down below. Leave comments. Follow Alan on Twitter at Alan_Stirk. Follow me on Twitter at ChaseOliver68. Both Twitter links will be down below. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Hope you guys enjoyed NFL and NBA, and hopefully you guys can get off my ass for not talking about these sports a lot. So I'll see you all later.